It's located out here in Marina Valley?
We are indeed. And we like to move our meeting locations just to make it more varied. So for right now, we are meeting at the Round Table off of Nason and the freeway.
Okay.
It's over in the Target Shopping Center over there. And we meet on the first Wednesday of the month, which of course will not be January 1st, but we'll meet on the 8th.
That's cool.
But yeah, and
I thought this was the 41st district.
No, we are the 61st Assembly.
Oh, Assembly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the 41st Senate.
Who's the congressperson out here?
Takano.
Takano? Oh, okay. So he's the 41st district.
Yes.
Okay.
Congressional district.
Okay, congressional
and
district.
And the election for spots on the county parties in all 58 counties are by assembly district.
Ah. Okay.
So we'll be on your ballot March 3rd. So look for our names.
Okay.
I appreciate that. What's your name?
Richard.
Richard, nice to meet you. I'm Ruthie.
You're Ruthie? Okay.
I are. I think mine is the last name.
Yep. Gold corn.
That's me.
Okay. Great. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you as well.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good.
Hanging in, hanging on.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm hoping he, brings it home.
Be the best Christmas present a year from now we could have.
I know.
This is just the interpreter, so.
Oh. Do you work for the campaign, or you?
I'm just volunteer.
You're just a volunteer? Right on. That's good. I'm actually volunteering tomorrow in
where?
Venice.
Oh, so he's going to be there tomorrow?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I wish that he would be talking about.
What's that?
And that is, Trump keeps saying he's created so many jobs, but actually in his very first year, the homelessness population increased by 25%.
Yeah.
So it's not that there's less unemployment, it's that people have given up.
Well, I think they said that 53% of the nation's homeless live here in California, too.
I know.
In Los Angeles, and like 94% of that are in Los Angeles and San Francisco alone.
I know, and one of my good friends told me yesterday that she's being evicted and she doesn't have a place to go.
That's what happens, too.
And it's not that she has mental problems, it's that she's a senior citizen. And, she worked in Native American missions, like in Arizona, and so she didn't. We need him so bad.
What do you think of? Because he's been talking a lot about, holding corruption accountable.
Yes.
And, well, what do you think about, like, all this? Have you heard all the new stuff that's coming out about Joe Biden from Romania and Latvia? It's like all of a sudden now all these countries are saying, oh, he took money from us, too.
Well,
Do you think he would hold somebody like Biden accountable if he was really doing that kind of, like, if he used his position to get money and get his son money, millions of dollars? I'm starting to wonder what's going on.
The press on that. I just don't think that Biden has the capacity to be what we need.
I don't either.
But I don't know in terms of corruption. I know there's a lot in the media.
Because I was kind of leaning towards him, and I was like between him and Bernie.
Yeah.
But now it's like they're starting to lose me on all that because I don't know what's going on, and there's a lot of stuff coming out with the FBI and all that. So I'm like, what happened during Obama's 8 years?
Well, I just know that that what Bernie stands for is what I believe.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I just hope that he holds people accountable, like he says. You know what I mean? And because Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez does the same thing. That there's corruption and all that, but how come they're not talking about all this stuff? That's what bothers me. You know what I mean? I want to see action and they just say nothing. They're just like, You know?
Well,
I don't know.
I think that they wanna flood the American people with the message of hope and transformation and what he will create beyond possibility into reality.
Yeah. Praying for him.
I tell you. I'm praying for Trump too, but maybe that he could just have a little friendly stroke.
I don't know. I don't dislike anybody or like anybody based on what the news tells me. You know what I mean? Like, I would have to have really concrete evidence to really hate somebody, especially enough to make them wish they were dead or something. Because
I don't hate him. I just think that what he's done. A lot of it is evil.
The thing that I'm wondering is, so far he's had 6 full investigations: CIA, FBI, NSA, the House, the Senate, and Mueller.
And who does he?
And what are they gonna impeach him for? For obstruction of Congress? And you know what I mean? They picked the weakest.
And who does he buddy up to? The dictators in the world. And
Well, he's the president.
That's what he wants to do.
He's the president. You could have said the same thing about Obama, or remember when Obama said to the Russian chancellor, he said, hey, right after I get elected, I'll have more leeway, so tell Putin that we can work something out. Did you ever hear that?
Well, it's important.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of...
But there's a difference between working to change and working with others to change and having them be your hero. With Trump, Kim Jong-un, and the dictators of the world are his heroes.
Why, if he likes them so much, why has he increased all of their sanctions to the point where they're about to snap? Russia's never had the sanctions on it like it has now. Not under Obama, not under Bush, not under any. So that, you know what I mean? I'm trying to I try to add up 2 plus 2 to make 4.
See, my cousin.
You know what I mean? I'm just like wondering.
Cousin, his whole life, he was a U.S. diplomat for the State Department. He traveled with all the presidents from Reagan to Obama. He's now retired, but he was so heartbroken when Trump got in and started to see him destroying relationships that my cousin John devoted his whole life to trading. You know, he was the representative for the United States in whatever country he was in. And then...
Does that include China?
He was everywhere.
Because China was stealing $500 billion a year from us for 14 years. That's $7 trillion. That's a lot of money. And it's funny that it just so happened when Biden was the vice president and his son went to China and got $1 billion. That's why I'm like...
We gotta have change.
Definitely.
Thomas was the Supreme Court Justice.
And every person.
67760. Put that number in your phone. All right, so you can give 67760. That number is 67760, and then text donate. Next, how many of you have the Burn app on your phone? All right, the rest of you, download the Burn app on your phone so you can help Bernie. You can help communicate Bernie's message to the people closest to you, your family, your friends, and your neighbors. You can convince them to vote for Bernie. It's BERN. Download the Burn app. Next, make sure you get a Democratic ballot. The easiest, and I want you to hear me, the easiest and most foolproof way for you to get a ballot with Bernie on it is to register as a Democrat at your current address. If you are registered, no party preference, make sure you return the postcard the registrar of voters sent to you to request a Democratic ballot. Now, it is my strong suggestion that instead of relying on confusing correspondence or relying on a provisional ballot and a valid volunteer on election day, that you change your registration to Democratic Party Today. You can do that at registertovote.ca.gov. That's registertovote.ca.gov. Finally, as of today, we have only 45 days before California mails out our ballots. That is 1 month and a half to do the hard work and win this thing. Who wants to win? Studies show that the best way to win an election like this is to talk to voters by making phone calls and by knocking on doors. Raise your hand if you're a little scared to talk to strangers. All right, me too. Okay. That's normal, that's only natural. But do you know what is scarier to me than talking to voters about Bernie? Not being able to see a doctor is scarier than talking to voters. Being buried alive in student loan debt is scarier than talking to voters. The devastating effects of a planet on fire is scarier than talking to voters. Being imprisoned in a camp on the border is scarier than talking to voters. So to win California, we're asking every Bernie supporter to sign up for a volunteer shift. Please go to BernieSanders.com, click on events, and sign up for a volunteer shift. You can do it now on your phone, so I'm going to repeat it. Go to BernieSanders.com, click on events, enter your zip code, and volunteer. Today, this weekend, this week, volunteer, let's win this thing. Right, my beautiful revolutionaries, when we win California,
that's right,
it will be because we changed from being supporters of Bernie to being volunteers for Bernie. That's what the political revolution is about. How many of you want to be volunteers for Bernie and win this thing? Awesome. Join me in that. Actually, you know what? Don't join me. Join us. Not me. Not me. Not me. Now, please welcome to the stage Raylene Arevalo from Friends of Bernie, Riverside City College.
our movement. This is why we are hosting a student organizing meeting today, right after the town hall, right in this ballroom. And we're going to learn the skills and tools needed to win this campaign and win back our future with Bernie Sanders. Again, join us for a student organizing meeting today, 25 minutes after the town hall in this ballroom. See you all there. Thank you. Now coming to the stage, Jamie Margolin, the founder of Zero Hour.
Hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Hola, my name is Jamie Margolin, and I am an author and climate justice activist from Seattle, Washington. I just turned 18 years old a few days ago. And I'm excited to use my new right to vote to cast my very first ballot ever for Bernie Sanders. I am here missing school. I should have been at school missing school because my generation's life depends on it. I'm here endorsing Bernie Sanders and showing my unwavering support for this campaign because Bernie Sanders is the climate champion that my generation needs to tackle the climate crisis before it's too late. I'm a senior in high school right now, and I started my fight for climate justice back when I was 14 years old. I sued my state government in Washington in a lawsuit called Piper versus the state of Washington, along with 12 other young plaintiffs for contributing to the climate crisis and denying my generation's constitutional rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness by knowingly making the climate crisis worse. The shellfish, salmon, orcas, and all of the beautiful wildlife in my Pacific Northwest home are dying due to ocean acidification because of the climate crisis, and communities all over Seattle, where I come from, are suffering because of the fossil fuel infrastructure being built against the will of the indigenous folks of my homeland to lock in decades more of climate destruction into my state. And I know that you guys here in the Inland Empire are experiencing very similar things. I've just learned about everything going on with the warehousing industry, and I'm so sorry that they are taking advantage of communities and putting profits over the lives of children and the lives of communities. Back in Seattle, we used to never have wildfire seasons, but they started a few years ago in 2017 when massive wildfires in Canada started blowing over the city of Seattle and covering our city in an apocalyptic-style smog that made it hard for us to breathe and made us all sick. My friends and I were warned to stay inside the last 2 summers because our city was shrouded in smoke from wildfires. Is this the future that we have to look forward to? No! That's right, and we the youth are making sure that it isn't. On July 21st of 2018, after an entire year of organizing, my organization, Zero Hour, called that because this is Zero Hour to act on climate change, marched in Washington, D.C. in a pouring rainstorm and in 25 cities around the world, demanding urgent climate action from all of our leaders. And that was only the beginning. We, the young people, are mobilizing and building up for the 2020 election. In Zero Hour, we are ramping up for our hashtag Vote for Our Future campaign, mobilizing young people all over the country, and especially in battleground states, to create the highest youth voter turnout ever in the 2020 election. When the youth vote, we win. And just like I just turned 18 and am now a new voter, there are so many new voters all over the country who can now elect Bernie Sanders as the next president of the United States. Has been done by the fossil fuel industry and all of these other industries that think it's okay to take advantage of communities and just take and give nothing back. 2020 is the last election we have to put the right leader in charge of the most powerful nation in the world. Someone who is willing to throw aside the status quo of putting profits over the earth. We do not have 4 more years. This is Zero Hour. We do not have a single moment to waste. And this is why I officially endorse Bernie Sanders for President of the United States. He is the only candidate in a very crowded Democratic field who fully finally grasps the intersectionality of the climate crisis and the revolutionary solutions needed in order to save all life on Earth before it's too late. He understands the social justice issues intertwined with the climate crisis and how it is low-income communities, communities of color, communities like right here in the Inland Empire that are feeling the worst effects, even though y'all did nothing to cause this crisis in the first place. He is the only candidate who has been a climate champion since day one, and if he were elected President of the United States, I would feel safe for the very first time in my life that my future and the future of our planet is finally in good hands in the White House. So thank you, Senator Sanders, for being a champion of the Green New Deal. And we are all here in support of the Green New Deal. Now, don't get me wrong, the Green New Deal is not the end-all be-all climate solution, but it is a revolutionary step in the right direction. People call my generation Generation Z, as if we are the last generation. But we are not, and we are refusing to be the last letter of the alphabet. Instead of Generation Z, we are renaming ourselves Generation GND, the generation of the Green New Deal. The only thing that will save us is a new era. You've heard of the Reagan era, the New Deal era. Well, the youth and this new political revolution are bringing about the era of the Green New Deal. This is what they will remember in history. In history books, decades from now, people will be looking back at this moment where communities who were at the whims of corporations for so long finally stood up, took a stand, turned the tides on the climate crisis, turned the tides on corporate greed, and solved the climate crisis before it was too late. So I have a question. Are you with the youth? Are you with the climate activists? Bernie Sanders as the next president of the United States? Are you willing to do everything you can to get out into your communities, to fight, to mobilize, to knock on doors, to leave no door unknocked, because this is your hour to act on the climate crisis, and we need a climate champion in office now. I'm going to lead you guys before I go in a little chant, and I want us to be so loud that all of the corporate leaders that have been taking advantage of these communities can hear us. Can we make them hear us? Okay. So, when I say, what do we want, you say climate justice. When I say, when do we want it, you say now. Are you ready? Yes. What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! And if we don't get it, shut it down. 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 Muchas gracias, everyone. Thank you. This is your hour. Let's breathe. Now, next up, it is my honor to introduce a wonderful activist, Lisette Chacon, president of People's Action. Please welcome her to the stage.
Buenas tardes. So, my name is Lisette Chacon. I'm the president of People's Action. People's Action is one of the largest multiracial working class organizations in the country, made up of 40 organizations in 30 states, including California. We are 1 million members strong, and today we are proud to endorse Bernie Sanders for president. Bernie knows that we need huge change, not just in who benefits from an economy, but who has the power. Because we know that if the decisions about our lives continue to be made by the rich, white elite, then we will never live in the world we all deserve. I'm an immigrant from Mexico. I moved to this country when I was 12 years old. My family is a mixed status family. I have lost 2 family members to deportation in the last 2 years. My dad has been working at a meat packing plant for the last 19 years. He should have retired, but he hasn't because he can't afford to stop working. When I was in high school, my mom ended up in the emergency room. We walked away with over $10,000 in debt. To this day, my mom continues to struggle to receive the care that she needs. I'm also from Colorado. We are not just the state with the beautiful mountains. We are the state with the most polluted zip code in the entire country. And that is not by mistake. 80216 is home to low-income Black and brown communities that have been targeted by polluting corporations, and that ain't right. But here's the thing. People's Action is fighting back. My dad and people like him should be paid good wages and get pensions when they retire. I want improved Medicare for all so people like my mom never have to struggle with the sickness and medical debt because our healthcare system. And I want healthy air and water for Black and brown people here in Moreno Valley and in Colorado. Bernie Sanders has the boldest vision to achieve all of that. And Bernie is fighting for something bigger for us. He wants you and I, the people of the multiracial working class, to have the power to run our energy system, our healthcare system, and our entire economy. Because Bernie Sanders knows that if we, the people, are in charge, especially Black and brown people, we will build a world that puts people and planet first.
Hello, are you ready, Inland Empire? Bernie Sanders is the first candidate to visit us. Are you, as an immigrant, a mother of three, a water chemist, a product of Riverside schools? Because I'm excited to be here. Are you excited? I'm here because of my three children, Gracie, Philip, and Gabby, who are in the crowd. Like them, every child deserves access to clean water and clean air for their future. Yes. I have fought my entire life. I've worked my entire career to protect our natural resources. You're welcome. I've worked with organizations such as the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice to make sure that we are protecting our futures. We all know that you don't have to look at Flint to see environmental injustices. We can look in our own backyards and see polluted groundwater, warehouses rising all around us, failing infrastructure, and our own health is affected because corporations are putting profit first instead of people first. Scientists tell us that we have about 11 years before it's too late to reverse the effects of climate change. But last year, the Inland Empire was ravaged by wildfires. Yes. It was torn apart by extreme storms. That proves to us that we do not have the infrastructure right now to combat climate changes. In California, 1 million people do not have access to clean and reliable water. It's criminal. So, that for me means that we need changes now. Yes. It is my honor to introduce one of the most influential environmental activists in the Inland Empire. Please give a round of applause to Andrea Vidaurre.
Tracy, and Andrea, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Before I go further, I want to introduce to you the brains in our family, the next First Lady of the United States.
Nobody that you can count on more than Bernie Sanders. A great husband, a great father, a great grandfather, not great-grandfather. and I think, you know, he is quite the senator. So I hope that you register as a Democrat. That's the easiest way to vote for him this time, and support him for the presidency. Thank you.
Say this right up front. This ain't about Bernie, it is about all of us. I will tell you what no other presidential candidate will tell you. And that is that no president, let's be clear, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can do it alone. What this campaign is about is us, not me. And that is not just a nice sounding phrase. What that means is we are all in it together. It also means that the only way that change, real change, ever takes place in this country, whether it's the labor movement, the women's movement, the civil rights movement, the gay movement, the environmental movement, change never takes place from the top on down. It only takes place when millions of people stand up and demand justice. Economic justice, social justice, racial justice, environmental justice. That is what this campaign is about. Yes, with your help, we're going to win here in California. And with your help, we're going to defeat the most dangerous president in American history. But we have got to do more than that. This campaign is not just about beating Trump. This campaign is about transforming our government. This campaign is about creating an economy and a government that works for all of us, not just the 1%. This campaign is about ending a corrupt political system in which billionaires are buying elections. And I gotta tell you, unlike Mike Bloomberg, who's attempting to buy the state of California, unlike some of my opponents who have super PACs, unlike other opponents who are going to wealthy people's homes and wine cellars, this campaign is funded by the working class of this country. We don't have a super PAC. We don't go to rich people's homes to raise huge amounts of money. What we do have is more contributions from more people than any candidate in the history of American politics. That money is coming from teachers, from workers at Amazon, from workers at Target, from waiters and waitresses, averaging $18 a contribution. We are going to win this election because the American people are sick and tired of massive income and wealth inequality. They are tired of 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of America. Tired of the rich becoming much richer when we got 500,000 Americans, including 30,000 veterans, homeless, sleeping out on the streets or in emergency shelters. American people are sick and tired of the 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 92%. Sick and tired of working 2 or 3 jobs with 49% of all new income going to the top 1%. Our job is to create an economy and a nation that works for all of us. If you work 40 hours a week in America, you should not be living in poverty. We're going to raise the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour. We're going to make it easier for workers to join unions. We're going to make sure that women earn equal pay. I grew up in a working class family. I lived in a rent-controlled apartment. I know what it is like to be in a family living paycheck to paycheck. Half of the people in our country today are living paycheck to paycheck. Living paycheck to paycheck means that if your car breaks down and you don't have the $500 to fix it, you can't get to work. And if you can't get to work, you don't get an income. And if you don't get an income, you can't take care of your kids. We are going to create an economy where we not only create jobs, we create jobs that pay people a living wage. And we believe in educational opportunity for all, regardless of your income. Working class families in America and their children deserve high quality, affordable, universal child care. Our teachers deserve a livable income. Our kids deserve the best public schools in the world. Every person in this country, regardless of income, deserves the right, if he or she has the ability, to get a higher education. That is why we're going to make public colleges and universities tuition free. And it is why we are going to cancel all student debt. And we are going to years ago. It's time for them to help the working class. I'll tell you what else we're going to do. We believe that health care is a human right, not a privilege. We are going to end the international embarrassment of the United States being the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right. And that is why we are going to pass a Medicare for all single-payer system. Now, the drug companies may not like it. The insurance companies may not like it. Trump may not like it. The Republican Party may not like it. The Democratic establishment may not like it. But nonetheless, that is exactly what is going to happen. Medicare for all means that we eliminate all premiums in this country. We eliminate all co-payments in this country. We eliminate all deductibles in this country. We eliminate all out-of-pocket expenses in this country. We expand Medicare to cover dental care, hearing aids, eyeglasses, and home health care. Medicare for all ends the absurdity of the healthcare industry making $100 billion in profit last year. And the crooks in the pharmaceutical industry making $69 billion in profits, while millions of Americans cannot afford the high cost of prescription drugs. So we have a radical idea. Ready for a radical idea? We believe that the function of health care is to provide quality care to all, not to make the healthcare industry billions and billions. There's another issue that we must talk about as progressives, and that is ending the broken and racist criminal justice system. In America, we have more people behind bars, over 2 million, disproportionately African American, Latino, and Native Americans. We are going to invest in our young people in jobs and education, not more jails and incarceration. We are going to end private prisons and detention centers. Right now, 400,000 people are behind bars for the crime of being poor. They cannot afford cash bail. We're going to end cash bail. On my first day in office, through executive order, we will legalize marijuana. We will also move toward expunging the records of those arrested. And when marijuana is legal in every state in this country, we are not going to allow a handful of large corporations to control legal marijuana. We are going to invest back into those communities that have suffered the most from the war on drugs. truck. We're going to help businesses in the African American and Latino and Native American communities profit from the legalization. Under our administration, we are going to end the demonization of undocumented people. On day one, through executive order, we are going to end all of Trump's racist immigration policy. Restore legal status to the 1.8 million young people and their parents eligible for the benefits. And we will pass comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship. Our administration will not develop a gun policy determined by the NRA. Our gun policy will be determined by the American people. That means expanded and universal background checks. It means ending the gun show loophole. It means ending the so-called straw man provision. It means ending the sale and distribution of assault weapons. United States Senator, and I'm on the floor of the Senate often, and I hear from my many conservative colleagues who talk about small government and getting government off the backs of the American people. And I say to those conservatives, if you believe in getting government off the backs of the American people, then you better recognize that it is women who have a right to control their own bodies. Possible to protect a woman's right to choose. We will never nominate anybody to the Supreme Court who is not 100% pro Roe v. Wade. I want to say a word now about an issue which is not just an American issue. It is a global issue. It is an issue of such consequence that it is almost impossible to describe. And that is that what the scientists are telling us now is they have underestimated the degree and severity in which climate change is ravaging not only our own country, but the entire planet. They underestimated the degree to which the polar ice caps are melting, and the ocean is warming, which will mean if we do not get our act together by the end of the century, major cities in the United States, Miami, New Orleans, Charleston, South Carolina, New York City, many others, countries around the world, Vietnam, Bangladesh, low-level countries, will be underwater. They have underestimated the severity of drought, something which I do not have to explain to the people of California. God knows I don't. I was in Paradise, California a number of months ago, and what I saw there was almost unbelievable. A small town where 86 people were killed and hundreds of buildings were destroyed. And what the scientists are telling us, it's not just California. Australia is burning right now as we speak. What drought means is that farmers will have shorter growing seasons, able to produce less food, higher cost to people. lower quality food. What climate change means is extreme weather disturbances. Some of you may have noticed last month, Venice, Italy, underwater. Houston, Texas, underwater. We see more of that. What climate change means is the acidification of the ocean, the killing of fish, where people all over the world get their protein from. What climate change means, according to the United Nations, if we don't get our act together, are hundreds of millions of people becoming climate refugees, being forced to migrate from their own communities because they can't find drinking water or land to grow their crops. And when hundreds of millions of people migrate, you have massive international security issues and the likelihood of more wars. So brothers and sisters, I don't mean to alarm you. But on this issue, I've been criticized for being an alarmist. You're damn right I am an alarmist. Anybody with a brain in his or her head should be an alarmist. And aside from other aspects of Trump's stupidity, when it comes to climate change, what he is doing is not just a great disservice to our country, but to the entire world. And I don't understand this. I really do not. How anybody could deny the reality of climate change and then look their kids or their grandchildren in the eye. Because if we do not get our act together, the planet, the country we are leaving our kids and our grandchildren will be increasingly unhealthy, increasingly uninhabitable. That is what we are facing. And that is why I am proud to tell you, I really am, that I and my staff have put together the strongest, most comprehensive climate change proposal in the history of America. She has been one of the leaders in the fight for a Green New Deal. So let me just very briefly explain to you what the Green New Deal is about. First of all, most important, it recognizes the existential crisis that we are in. This is not the time for middle-of-the-road action. This is the moment we have got to come up with policies that save our planet. Yes. Unlike this president, what I will do is work with people all over the world, their governments and if not their governments, the grassroots of those countries. Whether it is Russia, China, India, Pakistan, Brazil, whatever it may be, the people of this country, led, by the way, by young people, have got to demand global action. My dream is to lead the world in saying that instead of spending $1.8 trillion a year collectively on weapons of destruction designed to kill each other, maybe we pool our resources and we fight our common enemy, which is climate change. Climate, what the Green New Deal means is that as quickly as humanly possible, we transform our energy system and work with countries around the world to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And by the way, when we do that, when we retrofit buildings and homes all across this country, when we make massive investments in wind, solar, geothermal, and other sustainable technologies, when we transform our transportation system away from fossil fuel and air pollution, we can create up to 20 million good-paying union jobs. I'll tell you something else that we have got to do, and it really speaks to the corruption of the American political system. Right now, we are fighting not just corporate greed. We know greed is rampant. But we are fighting corporate corruption. And right now, what I'm thinking about is some 40, 50 years ago, the tobacco industry went before Congress, they raised their right hands. Many of you may have seen the picture. And they swore to Congress that tobacco was not harmful to human health. They lied. I know that shocks you. But the result is not amazing. They lied, and millions of people, including my own father, who smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, died. Right? We have the pharmaceutical industry, when you talk about corruption, knowingly selling opioids that were addictive and killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. So that's not just greed, that is corruption. To imagine learning that the product you're selling is addictive, is killing people, and your response is to hire more salespersons to go out and sell that product. And then we got the fossil fuel industry. I want you to think about this for a second. There are very smart scientists and engineers who work in the fossil fuel industry. They have known for decades that fossil fuel was warming the planet and causing all kinds of destruction. And the fossil fuel industry's response was to lie, to put millions and millions of dollars into trying to obfuscate and hide the reality of what fossil fuels were doing to our planet. In other words, for their short-term profits, they were willing to destroy the planet. Our administration will hold these executives accountable. Brothers and sisters, and those are just some of the issues that are out there. But as we look at the incredible challenges that we face as a nation, income and wealth inequality, a corrupt political system, low wages, kids not getting a decent education, 87 million people uninsured or underinsured, climate change, criminal justice, immigration, women's rights, gun policy. Man, we got a lot of work in front of us. But at the end of the day, this is what I believe. I believe this deeply in my heart. And that is the 1% has unbelievable power. I deal, I'm a senator. I deal with these guys all the time. I deal with Wall Street. You got 6 major financial institutions that control assets over $10 trillion. Got that? That is a lot of power. You got the drug companies who spent $4 billion in the last 20 years on lobbying and campaign contributions to make sure that you pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. You got the insurance companies who will be spending tens of millions of dollars to try to defeat Medicare. Well, you got a military-industrial complex that has forced us to be spending more money on defense than the next 10 nations combined. You got the prison-industrial complex. In other words, there's a lot of very powerful people out there who want to maintain the status quo. They are happy with the status quo. Well, we're here today to say we are not happy with the status quo. Our job is, at the end the day is this 1%. Incredible wealth and incredible power. But if the 99% does not allow ourselves to become divided up based on the color of our skin, or where we were born, or our sexual orientation, or our religion, Trump is trying to divide us up. We bring our people together. When we bring our people together, when we have a vision for a new America, when we are unafraid to stand up and take on powerful special interests, brothers and sisters, at that moment, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. We are feeling very good in our campaign. We think we're going to win in Iowa. We think we're going to win in New Hampshire. We think we're going to win in Nevada. We think we're going to win in South Carolina. Then we come to the largest state in America. And if we win here, we will win the nomination and we will defeat Trump. So, what I just want to say to you is that if you're going to vote for us, which I hope you will, the easiest way to do that is to register as a Democrat and ensure that you get the Democratic presidential primary ballot. Because if you don't do that, you don't get the primary ballot, you don't vote in the Democratic primary. And also you can check the registration on the Secretary of State's website. So I appreciate everybody making that effort. All right. Here we are, folks. We are in a pivotal and unprecedented moment in American history. We are taking on an administration which is corrupt, a president who is a liar, habitual liar, who is a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, a xenophobe, and a religious bigot. Other than that, this is a guy we are going to defeat. To do that, politics is serious business. It really is. And our Republican friends understand how serious it is. That is why they are actively working as we speak to suppress the vote. Some of you may have just seen in the last week or so in Georgia and in Wisconsin, hundreds of thousands of people's names are being purged from the voting list of those states. The Republicans believe you win elections by having billionaires buy elections and you suppress the vote. We believe that you win elections by having the largest voter turnout in history. So in this pivotal and unprecedented moment in American history, where not only do we have a dangerous president, but we have a whole series of incredibly difficult challenges. Now is the time for people not to throw their hands up in despair, not to become depressed. Now is the time to fight back. So with your help, we're going to win the primary here in California. With your help, we're going to defeat Trump. With your help, transform this country. Thank you all very much.
Hey, don't let the DNC steal it from you this time. Don't let them steal it. Thank you. Are you with Bernie Sanders? You guys? Yeah. Can I give you my card? Give it to the staff room. This is staff room?
My son works for him.
Oh, you do? I'm doing a documentary on progressive values in California. So I just interviewed Gavin Newsom and Cory Booker.
Okay, so my son works with Senator Sanders.
Okay.
His campaign. So I'll give you his.
Does he have a card? Your son?
I can give you his number.
Okay.
Yeah. $850-5598.
Okay. His name is Hajo?
Faraz Rizvi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's his nickname.
Dang it, it didn't go through. Sorry. 951-850-5598. Okay. And his first name?
F-A-R-A-Z.
Okay.
Last name Rizvi. R-I-Z-V-I.
Okay.
And he's a field director for Corona and Norfolk Eastville area in Inland Empire. So.
Oh, good. I'm actually working on other Democratic campaigns too. I'm a campaign manager for another congressman.
So definitely you can connect with him and then he can get you into the campaign.
Okay, what's your name?
Fazia Rizvi.
Fazia?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. I'm Richard Chamberlain. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Hey, sweet.
Okay, thank you.